If this Jiuxuan golden thunder dragon appeared outside, I am afraid that it would immediately attract countless alchemists. The allure of the Jiuxuan golden thunder dragon is surprisingly strong. If it is really grabbed, don't say the Shao clan. I am afraid that the entire imperial state can be turned upside down. How can this make the entire Shao clan not shocked? Shao Li was also in surprise, and a dark shadow suddenly rushed forward behind him, and it was Xiao Yan. Shao Li eagerly stretched out his hand to grab Xiao Yan, but seeing Xiao Yan, who had already flown out a few feet, he had to shrink back helplessly. Approaching the brontosaurus, Xiao Yan stretched out his arm, and the huge head of the brontosaurus slowly leaned against Xiao Yan's hand, as if he had found his own host and seemed to enjoy it. The fierce golden light shrank, and the nearly 100-meter-long dragon body hovering in the air was long gone. A little boy who looked 7 or 8 years old slowly landed beside Xiao Yan. His face looked a little tired. The boy had 2 golden eyebrows, a pair of golden eyes, and his naked body was still flashing with golden thunder and lightning that had not been completely eliminated. It looked quite strange, and all the Shao people looked blankly. The sudden change couldn't help but make Xiao Yan feel quite emotional. When he saw a Jiuxuan golden thunder dragon produced by heaven and earth in Lei Qi among the ancient dragons of Taishu, he was just taking advantage of each other to help the thunder dragon gather spirits. Xiao Yan never expected that this would make this young thunder dragon remember him favorably, and it seemed that he came to this duty continent in spite of all costs. What kind of luck does Xiao Yan have with this kid? Not only Xiao Li, but all the members of the Shao family looked at the unbelievable scene in front of them with dull eyes. Even in the duty continent, there are only a few people who possess Jiuxuan Jinlei. Xiao Yan fell slowly, and the child was suspended behind Xiao Yan. Xiao Li took a step forward and said, "Xiao Yan Jr., congratulations." The Shao family also followed one after another, all coming up to congratulate Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan just smiled slightly and waved his hand helplessly. In fact, he didn't know what was going on. He had done something within his power at the beginning, but now it seems that he may have given him a great reward. Xiao Yan couldn't stand the various eyes of these people and handed over to Xiao Li. "Ancestor, if it's okay, the younger generation will go back first." Xiao Li nodded, also secretly praised in his heart. Xiao Yan had only been here for 2 days, causing such a huge commotion. After secretly praising it, he secretly rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, the Golden Thunder Dragon did not intend to attack. Otherwise, as soon as the Phantom Beast Pillar collapsed, the entire Shao clan was afraid that it would all collapse because of the lack of support. These 5 stone pillars, called the Phantom Beast Pillars, are the pillars that support the entire Shao family. Of course, they also have other functions. The 5 pillars can summon Warcraft, and it is also a mysterious passage to the Vindictive Continent. But only Warcraft can walk this passage. If a person wants to enter in the flesh, unless he surpasses the Fighting Emperor, he will immediately be shattered to pieces. Only after surpassing the Fighting Emperor will he be qualified and capable to enter. Xiao Yan didn't dare to neglect. The way the Shao family looked at him was just like the awe-inspiring look that everyone looked at him when he was a genius when he was a child, and there was an inexplicable, refreshing feeling in his heart that he hadn't had for many years. Xiao Yan avoided people's eyes and quickly returned to his residence with the Jiuxuan Golden Thunder Dragon that had transformed into a human behind him. Arriving at Xiao Li's designated residence, Xiao Yan pushed the door in. The house is quite large, and the decoration is also very gorgeous. Xiao Yan looked around and walked in with the boy behind him. Xiao Yan sat down and then asked the boy to sit down too. Looking at this 7 or 8-year-old child, his skin is slightly golden, and the contours of his muscles are clearly visible. Xiao Yan smiled and asked, "What's your name?" The boy sat slowly beside Xiao Yan and replied astringent, "Long." Xiao Yan looked at Long Yi's expressionless appearance, frowned slightly, and asked, "Why did you come to me?" A flash of excitement flashed on Long Yi's face. "You gathered spirits for me back then, and you were my father." "Father? Why did I have an extra son inexplicably?" Xiao Yin was helpless, gave a wry smile, and immediately said, "That's just a little effort. It's not worth mentioning. My father still doesn't think it's appropriate, or we will be commensurate with our brothers in the future." Before Xiao Yin could finish speaking, Long Yi turned into a small dragon and fell to the ground. Xiao Yin was taken aback and hurriedly supported Long Yi, injecting vindictive energy into Long Yi's body, only to discover that Long Yi had suffered a serious injury. "I'm hurt, and it's not a bad injury. He has to be treated quickly," Xiao Yin pondered. Suddenly, an old voice sounded in Xiao Yan's ears. "Send it into the tower." "Who? Whose voice? In the tower? Little tower?" "Yes, it's Xiao." Xiao Yin quickly took out the small tower and asked hurriedly, "Are you talking to me? Who are you?" The old voice continued leisurely. "Me. Now you don't need to know my identity. Just call me Zhang Lao in the future. You can come in by injecting soul power into the tower." Xiao Yin nodded. Then his soul power was released and injected into the small tower. The figures of Xiao Yin and Long immediately turned into a touch of golden light and poured into the golden pagoda. Immediately, the golden pagoda slowly suspended in the air, shining with a strange light. Suddenly, the room was covered with a faint golden gauze. As soon as Xiao Yin stepped into the tower, a stream of energy information poured into his mind. On the surface, this tower seems to be a heavenly burning qi training tower, but its real name is Zichen Su Ling Pagoda, which is divided into 22 layers. The qi refining layer, the practice layer, and the medicinal material layer are followed by a series of introductions to this Zichen Su Ling Pagoda. Xiao Yin was secretly surprised in his heart. This is the real existence of the Tangxiang Liangqi Pagoda. Why did he appear in this form? It is not described in the information, and it seems that he was deliberately concealed by Zhang Lao. There was not much information to introduce, and it seemed that they were all concealed, but Xiao Yin knew in his heart that the small tower in his hand was not as simple as it seemed. Xiao Yin sorted out his thoughts, slowly opened his eyes, and an old man in a gray robe appeared in front of him. Looking at the face in front of him, Xiao Yin was stunned and surprised old Medicine. This face is similar to Mrs. Medicine, with the same face and the same smile. It is a replica of Mrs. Medicine. Xiao Yin trembled a little in his heart, settled his mind, and shook his head. He knew that this was definitely not Old John. It took a long time to recover and asked, "Your name is Old John?" The old man nodded with Xiao Yan's extremely familiar smile, revealing a little mystery in his face, and walked towards Long Yi lying on the ground. His sleeves waved, and a strange energy passed through Long Yi's body lying on the ground, and suddenly a trace of golden light was released. Xiao Yin recovered and began to observe the tower, and found that this tower was still somewhat different from the Tianyin Qi refining tower. First of all, it's the big one in front of you. After looking around, Xiao Yin recalled in his mind. From the information that had just rushed into his mind, he guessed that this should be the lowest qi refining layer in the tower. Looking at the area almost comparable to Xingxing Tai, Xiao Yin was quite shocked. Then Xiao Yin discovered that the vindictiveness in this tower is obviously different from that of the Tianyin Qi refining tower. It is not ordinary vindictiveness, but the source of the Emperor's qi. At this time, the vindictiveness in Xiao Yan's body was like entering the star platform, and there was a slight fluctuation soon, and there was a little improvement vaguely. Suddenly, Xiao Yin was also surprised in his heart. Xiao Yan's previous doubts about this tower began to emerge again, even more prosperous. "Old John, where does this tower come from, and why does it have my aura?" Xiao Yin turned his head to look at Zhang Lao and immediately asked. The appearance of this tower is exactly the same as the Tianyin Qi refining tower, but the interior is so different. When I was in the Vindictive Continent, I had never seen this tower at all, but why did it come here to follow me? The tower in front of you is actually the sky-burning gas refining tower. While Zhang Lao continued to wave the golden breath in his hand to heal Long Yi's injuries, he answered Xiao Yin. As for the difference between what you feel and the sky-burning qi refining tower, and the questions you want to know, Many of them are secrets. There are so many secrets about this tower. I can't tell you for the time being, but I will tell you naturally in the future. Why can't you tell me now? Xiao Yan's eyebrows were angry, and he was naturally extremely dissatisfied with old Zhang's answer. Lao Zhang looked at Xiao Yan, smiled softly, and said, I told you, I'm afraid I won't be able to live, but I don't want to die yet. Hee hee, you have to explore the secrets in this tower by yourself. Now you can go inside again and practice first. The feeling here is very different from on the Vindictive Continent. Xiao Yan nodded, looking at the very similar faces of the old man and Yao Lao. It didn't seem to be telling a lie. He had never practiced before he came to this continent, and Xiao Yan was also a little curious and a little expectant, so he didn't say much and then moved his steps towards the center. Seeing Xiao Yan walking slowly past, a strange look suddenly appeared on old John's face. After Xiao Yan slowly walked a few steps towards the center, a powerful coercion directly suppressed the vindictive spirit in Xiao Yan's body, and the flow of vindictive spirit suddenly became much slower, but Xiao Yan didn't mean to stop at all. After a few more difficult steps forward, Xiao Yan's face was already sweating profusely. Now that the suppression of power had made him unable to take a step forward, he whispered in a low voice, What the hell is this power? So powerful. At this time, the vindictiveness in Xiao Yan's body was almost like a snail, flowing slowly, but Xiao Yan could clearly feel that the vindictiveness in his body was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Xiao Yan knew this was a good opportunity to practice, so he slowly sat down cross-legged, closed his eyes, and concentrated. A mouthful of white qi gently exhaled from his mouth, and immediately started to absorb the energy of heaven and earth. At the moment of operation, a powerful energy from all parts of the meridians suddenly sucked in, just as if a person who has been hungry for a long time has not eaten anything. This energy is frantically introduced into Xiao Yan's body. Xiao Yan didn't know that this absorption would have a huge improvement for him, because every new duty will have a great improvement in his first cultivation when he first arrives on the duty continent. But how much he can improve depends on each person's qualifications and creations. Now that Xiao Yan has entered the first cultivation in the land of Fighting Emperor, this cultivation may last for several days or even longer. Over time, the energy frantically sucked in his body will slowly slow down. At this time, in Xiao Yan's Dantian, there was a group of light filled with an indescribably powerful aura, and the energy in the surrounding meridians was frantically pouring in. With the crazy influx of these energies, Xiao Yan's aura was also increasing at an extremely fast speed. Xiao Yan was very surprised. Such an increase in speed was something he had never encountered before. He couldn't believe it when he was so fast. This tower could actually speed up his cultivation.